Hello and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Thursday, 22 January. I'm your host Daniel, and today we're going to talk about Canada's Prime Minister Carney says the world order is in the midst of a rupture. Germany has arrested at least two individuals for spying for Russia, and Trump says that he's going to meet Zelensky in Davos as the peace deal is reasonably close. So firstly, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has warned of a global fissure beyond US threats to Greenland and added in a WEF speech, the World Economic Forum, that won him a standing ovation on Tuesday. Just to add to this, a follower reached out and said that the speech was pretty good and well worth a listen. So, go take a look. I think it's worth having a listen to. He pointed out that that US power had meant that the rules-based order had been imperfect, with the enforcement of trade rules and international law applying on the basis of military and economic might. So what? I mean, I don't think much is going to change around the whole, things are only implemented because people have the military strength to actually enforce them. That's sadly just the way of the world. So while I agree with him that things are changing and American hegemony has kind of fallen off a bit recently and things are very disrupted right now, I think at the end of the day, power is still power. And if the rest of the world wants to, maintain the rules-based order, then they need to come together to enforce it through their own military might. That is sadly how things have been run forever and how they will almost certainly be run in the future. How America fits into this is currently unclear due to their, recent changes in foreign policy and how they are approaching the world. But I don't know. I'm still quite hopeful that when the midterms happen this year, that things can change for the United States and that, some kind of checks and balances can be brought in to kind of rein in Donald Trump's almost authoritarian might within the country. And next, two former German defense officials are under investigation in connection with the arrest of a German-Ukrainian woman who was accused of spying for Russia, a defense ministry spokesperson said on Wednesday. The woman, with German and Ukrainian citizenship, was arrested in Berlin on Wednesday on suspicion of having passed sensitive information to a Russian embassy official. She is suspected of sharing details of participants at high-level political meetings and of collecting information on arms manufacturing locations, drone tests, and drone deliveries to Ukraine. She is also accused of helping her Russian contact gain access to political events in Berlin under a false identity. Her apartments and the two suspected accomplices were searched in different parts of Germany. Two men are suspected of having disclosed official information to her, and it remains unclear whether the two men knew the woman was allegedly spying for Russia and whether they were unknowingly passing sensitive information to a foreign power. Ooh, so what? I mean, this sounds like it could possibly be the old case of a honey trap. Woman involved in espionage. That's always something you're warned about within intelligence communities. If you're the run-of-the-mill int nerd and suddenly a very attractive foreign woman is interested in you, then it's possibly not for your looks and possibly for your access to sensitive information. Unlucky for them, I don't know shit, so bring it on. But no, seriously, it's pretty interesting. This is just par for the course at this point. Russia is aggressively trying to collect intelligence within the European Union to help its war in Ukraine, which is completely understandable. That is how espionage works and how intelligence operations have worked since forever. Using a Ukrainian woman, also not surprising. I have no doubt she's probably beautiful, and these two men were unwittingly falling into a trap. It's possible that they thought they were helping the Ukrainians, possibly using that part of her ethnicity to, bring them along for the ride. But anyway, they will likely face punishment and, charge. So unlucky for them, the game is the game, and intelligence operations continue to move forward. And lastly, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky appears set to travel to Switzerland to meet Donald Trump just days after he said he would be giving the World Economic Forum in Davos a miss. On Wednesday, Trump announced that he would be sitting down with Zelensky later the same day, even though Ukrainian president wasn't even in the same country. US officials later said that the president misspoke and that said the meeting was on the cards to take place on Thursday, which is today. Speaking at the World Economic Forum, Trump said that he thought they are reasonably close to a deal to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. So what? There's been a lot of talk about this peace deal, and I, for one, don't believe it's happening until I see it. I think that's probably the best way to approach it. There's a lot of talk about it from both sides, both positive and negative, both blaming the other for slowing it down, for not having, moved forward in it. And at the end of the day, the key issues still remain, right? There's still no agreements around security guarantees, and there's no agreements around control of territories. They are the two most significant hurdles from what I see at this stage. I think Ukraine would be willing to give up some territory if it meant that foreign troops could come into Ukraine and provide that security guarantee. However, it is highly unlikely at this stage that Russia is willing to agree to that. Unless something has significantly changed behind the scenes, which is quite possible. The Russian economy is suffering from this conflict. So it's definitely possible that they have decided to change their point of view. But until they openly talk about it and agree to it, then I don't think it's happening. As I said in a different podcast, Putin, this war for Putin is life or death. If he loses this conflict, he loses his legacy, and it possibly means that his family would be in danger because he would likely be removed, and, those things never go quietly into the dark, especially in Russia. So, yeah, I don't think much is going to change here. Trump's probably going to try and lean on Zelensky to make some kind of further commitments, but we'll have to see. Zelensky seems pretty strong at holding his point of view at this point. He's got a lot of support from Europe, and local, domestic intelligence and military capabilities are definitely improving, giving him the capability to continue the fight with less US support. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. Anyway, that's been your entire brief. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you again tomorrow. See you.